back to the Mackem in the Middle podcast and another preview ahead of another league game, which is, of course, QPR. Sorry, I thought I said Crystal Palace there. QPR at home tomorrow, 3 p.m. kickoff. Another tough game. Plenty to talk about going into it. And I am joined by, of course, a QPR fan, otherwise UpTheR, known as on Twitter. How you getting on, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm looking forward to the game, as I'm sure you are as well. We'll get straight into it. Obviously, it's been a good start of the season for Sunderland so far. One draw at home to Coventry and then a 3-2 win away to Bristol City. And of course, QPR's opening fixture did see them lose 1-0 to Blackburn, who I think are still top of the league, if I'm not mistaken, and then a 3-2 win against Middlesbrough. So looking at them two games, obviously we'll get into the cup game as well, but it was only a few days ago. But them two open league games, what did you take away from them?
I think looking at Blackburn, I think there was a lot of fatigue that set in with Blackburn. We didn't offer anything really on the attack, but defensively, I thought we looked well good. You know, we did concede the one goal, which in classic QPR fashion was a screamer.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, we didn't seem to offer anything on the attack. It just seemed very bare, but defensively we looked good. And then Chrissy Willock returned for Borough, and I mean, just blew them out of the water.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. You know, I think the first half we were by far the better team. I mean, we were running rings around them, and then we conceded the goal on the brink of half time. And I think that's the reason why we ended up struggling so much into the second half because, you know, when you're conceding a goal, taking the lead from 3 goals to two on the edge of half time, it's always going to end badly. But we managed to hold off and some defensive heroics, and yeah, no, it's been all right. It's been all right so far.
Yeah. Obviously, looking at that Blackburn game, I think QPR did slightly have more possession than Blackburn, but didn't actually have a shot on target in the game. Was that down to Blackburn just being very good defensively, or did QPR were they not really at the races in terms of offering an offensive threat?
I think a bit of both. I think there were several opportunities that we had to get into the Blackburn half, but Blackburn box. But I think Blackburn shut us down quite well defensively, and I think as well, just we weren't at the races. I think obviously missing Willock is a big pointer of that, and you know I think ultimately we needed to offer more. I think that for Michael Beale was a bit of a show to say, okay, what do we need to do? And you know, like Lyndon Dice need to start running about a bit more, but test the formation as well. And yeah, I think it just was not our day.
Yeah. And obviously, the Middlesbrough game, I think everyone saw the goal that Chris Willock scored, and I think that will, come the end of the season, still be one of the best goals of the season. But he did go 3-0 up within, I think it was about 38 minutes, one of the two. And obviously, Middlesbrough did score two later on in the game. Was that a case of QPR kind of just taking the foot off the pedal a little bit and let Middlesbrough back into the game?
Yeah, definitely. I think when we went 3-0 up, it was almost like party season because, you know, Middlesbrough are up there as some of the favourites to go up this season. So, you know, most of us went into it with the intention to, you know, be happy with a point.
Yeah.
Um, And then when we started scoring the goals in the way that we were, it was just we were on dreamland. I think at 3-0, the game management maybe lacked a bit because he was just going to sit back and kind of let them do their thing. And then, you know, QPR, when they go a few goals up, they get a bit lazy and a bit sloppy and a bit too
Mm.
content. And I think that's ultimately why we did concede 2 goals because you know, the first one was just laziness and it went in. And then the second one was based on, it was a bit of a shock because we had already conceded one. So I think it's a bit of both, a bit of laziness and a bit of just being too comfortable with the current result score.
Yeah. And obviously, you've signed 4 players so far, and there is still, just under 3 weeks left of the window, so I'd imagine there will be a couple more come through the door for you. But Clark Salter, Kenneth Powell, Tyler Roberts, and of course Taylor Richards on loan from Brighton, two of which will, of course, be missing the game on Saturday, which we will get into.
Yeah.
How much more business do you think QPR need to do to be able to challenge for kind of top six, which I imagine is where a lot of people would expect them to be this season?
Yeah, it's a tough one really because you know going into last season we were tipped to go up and you know get top six etc. And you know up until about January when we got all the injuries we did we were in the top four consistently. And it's quite funny to see you know we've not lost many players. We've lost Johan Barbe and we've lost Andre Gray and Charlie Austin. Um, so we've still got that core, that big strong team out there. and now we're getting tipped, bottom half and stuff like that. So it's a bit confusing to me. I think we need the right back and we need a striker. Obviously, the right back's set to be announced today. Ethan Laird. Not sure much about him, but I've heard he's decent. So
Yeah.
um,
I think that's on
yeah, I
loan
think
with an option to buy as well, isn't it?
yeah, as far as I'm aware, which would be great for us because we have lacked in the right back position for a
Yeah.
while. But no, it seems a bit greedy to say after winning scoring 3 goals, we need a striker. But I do think that is what we need, and
Yeah.
I think maybe two more, maybe a winger or a central attacking midfielder and a striker. Really, that's what I feel we need to get that top six.
Yeah. And obviously, this season, we're 2 games in to the league season, obviously 3 if you include the cup game. So, in terms of league positions and results at this stage, it doesn't really mean anything. But, looking at the teams that have dropped points so far, the likes of Norwich, who, they always seem to do well in the Championship. Burnley came down. They were tipped to be right up there. In terms of competition, this season's Championship is probably up there with one of the hardest to, compete in.
Definitely. But I suppose that also goes hand in hand with the whole relegated teams. I think part of the reason why we've got teams like Sunderland that are spending quite a bit of money. You've come up and you've put a nice amount of money in, but that's because you're building a championship team rather than having it pre-built and adding to it.
Yeah.
Um, I think clubs like yourselves doing that, and Wigan spending a bit of money, people like that. It shows how competitive it is also because as much as Burnley want to come down and throw 15 million at a big group of players putting together, it doesn't always guarantee results. So I think it might be the most competitive championship season that has gone on for a very, very long time. But I think as it is the championship, I think there will be a few surprises. I don't think the likes of
Yeah.
Burnley and Watford and Norwich actually have kind of realised that this championship is a very competitive
I
place
think I
now.
think that's the thing as well this season. Normally in a Championship, obviously every other season it seems, Fulham in here, you'd put a bet on Fulham to go up. You wouldn't even get any money back from it because they would be favourites. They'd be almost guaranteed to get promoted.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single team in the league this season that you could say hand on heart will get promoted come the end of the year.
No, I don't think. To be honest, I don't. I think if there was one that I was considering potentially being that, is Middlesbrough. But after seeing them against us, no, I don't. I don't think this season there is a clear favourite. No, not at all.
Do you think that benefits QPR going forward? Obviously, they've been stuck in the Championship for a while now. They will want to be back in the Premier League. Having that kind of unknown quantity as to what the league will, contain this season, does that help QPR?
I think in certain ways it does because I think every time there is expectation on your hands, it makes things a little bit more difficult. But I think ultimately, I don't think as much as we'd like to get out the championship. Um, I also think we've got a new gaffer who's never managed before. Um, so I think to be honest, as much as it would probably benefit us, I don't think we're necessarily aiming for that. I think we're kind of aiming to
Hmm.
maybe scrape playoffs and just kind of rebuild. But we've been rebuilding for a very long time now, so who knows?
Yeah. And obviously, I touched on it before. There are quite a few players missing for this game on Saturday for QPR. Clark Salter and Kenneth Powell. Is it Kenneth Powell or Powell? I've never actually known how to pronounce that name. I think it's Powell.
Paul,
Powell.
yeah,
We'll go with that. Obviously, them two are missing. They are two of the 4 signings you've made. Chris Willock, obviously, he scored that screamer against Middlesbrough. He's expected to miss. And of course, Luke Amos as well. I mentioned that on Twitter. I put a tweet out, obviously, because a lot of Sunderland fans won't have known that, and some Sunderland fans won't really know how much that will impact the game. But I think there was one QPR fan said they would need a 4-0 handicap to be able to get anything out of this game now. Are them 4 players being missing for this game that much of an impact?
Oh, I think if you were to pick out 4 players that you wouldn't want to be out, it would be them 4. I think Clark Salter in particular has been, when he's been playing, he's been fantastic. But we have got, just as good, if not a better centre back in Jimmy Dunne, so I'm not as worried about that.
Yeah.
But left back is a big concern with Pole being out. We've got a young lad, well, I'll say young, he's been here about 7 years now. He's 25, Nico Hammerlinen, who not to disrespect him, but he's just not good enough for this level, and he's very sloppy. You see it in the cup game on Tuesday. So yeah, no, I think them two, but the main one, Willock, is a I mean that is just a huge loss. If Chris Willock scored 18 goals and assists last season, I
Yeah,
mean that's a big amount of chances created and goals to be missed. So um, I know it's hit and miss. Michael Bill hasn't decided yet, but there'll be a massive miss. We've got a little bit depth in the areas. As a few exciting youngsters that might get the chance. So yeah, it's probably going to be a bit of a tough one for us, I think.
yeah. Because Chris Willock is the player that, if QPR score a goal, it seems to be he's involved in it, whether it's the build-up, the assist, or obviously scoring the goal. He scored some bangers. Obviously, that goal against Middlesbrough, he scored quite a few last season. I remember seeing across Twitter. Him being missing, does that change how QPR will approach the game? Will they, kind of look to maybe play for the point more than they would have if he was available?
I think I spoke to Mick Bill at the kit reveal, and he said that this season he doesn't want to be doing things like just aiming for the point.
Yeah,
Um, so I think we will still be going for the win rather. We've got the likes of Ilias Chair,
yeah,
um, and he can do well for us, and Lyndon Dykes, etc. And I'd be surprised if we didn't come out with a bit of tenacity and want to get the win, but I would take a draw myself. I think Sunderland's a hard place to go. It's a trek, so a
yeah.
point for me wouldn't be terrible.
It's probably one of the furthest away games for you, is it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think yeah, by far. I was actually just looking at it the other day. Sunderland is one hell of a trek.
Yeah. There's quite a few London clubs in the Championship, isn't there? In terms of distances to if you were to go to an away game, there are quite a few teams closer, don't there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the rivals, your Chelsea, your Brentford, your Fulham are all gone up to Premier League now. So, you've got Millwall, Watford down the road. Um, yeah, there's a few not too far from us. So Luton as well.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, so it's nice to have the Geordies back in the league though. I like that. That's
yeah,
always good to
absolutely. Obviously, Sunderland did get knocked out of the cup as well, and we're not really going to touch on that, but that did put an end to what was the longest unbeaten run across all of England's four divisions. It was 18 games unbeaten in all competitive fixtures. It's hard one to say that. But of course, the league run still continues since Alex Neil came in. Just one league defeat since he was appointed manager. Sunderland will, of course, with them being at home, it'll be 36 towards 40,000 there again on Saturday. They will
yeah.
want to win, at least certainly not want to lose. How does that play into the mind of the QPR players, knowing that Sunderland have been unbeaten for that long?
I think had it been in the Championship, I think it would be a little bit more of a. Pardon me, that was a very loud. Um, yeah, no, I think had it been in the Championship, I think it would be a big kind of scary prospect. But
Yeah,
due to the fact it was in League One, I don't think it would be as huge. But I think I'll definitely be mentioned in the pre-game talks and the build-up with McBill because him himself has said about never write anyone off, never underestimate anyone. I think that will probably be something that he's touched on. The unbeaten run, and no matter what league it is, it takes incredibly good management and game management to go 18 games unbeaten. So that will definitely be something. But I'm hoping not. It won't reflect on the pitch.
yeah. In terms of the teams, obviously Sunderland performance against Sheffield Wednesday in the cup was very poor, and there wasn't really any players that stood out there that will play any part in the game on Saturday. Really, certainly not in the start 11. So in terms of Sunderland, I'd imagine it'll be an unchanged 11, which of course was Patterson, Daniel Ballard, Danny Bart, Dennis Cirkin, Lyndon Gooch, Corey Evans, Dan Neil, Jack Clark, Alex Pritchard, Ellis Sims, and Ross Stewart up front. I'm going to put you on the spot here. If you had to predict the starting 11 for QPR for tomorrow's game, what would it look like?
Oh, so it go to Dieng. Um, right back is obviously we've not got the right back in yet, so it'll probably be Kakai. Centre backs will be Dickey and Dunn. Left back will probably be Hammerlinen. It'll probably be a 4-3-3. So in the midfield, it'll be Sam Field, Stefan Johansson, and probably Andre Dazelle with a front three. Will be Chair. Ooh, it'll be Chair. I'd imagine Lyndon Dykes up front as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, Lyndon Dykes will start up front, and then I would say on the right hand side we might end up going Shadipo, but I do think there is potential for Tyler Roberts to start as well because he scored a fantastic goal against Charlton midweek. So that would be my my prediction. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Sunderland have this curse where pretty much every ex-player that comes up against us tends to score against us. Tom Flanagan did last season. Connor Wickham. Off the top of my head, there's so many more. Darren Bent. Everyone that used to play for us tends to score against us. And of course, Jimmy Dunne did spend a season on loan at Sunderland. I don't know if he scored many goals for QPR since he signed, but I'd imagine from set pieces especially, he will pose a threat for QPR.
Well, say that he scored against Borough, didn't he? Yeah, he scored against Borough. Just gone. So yeah, he provides massively top tier aerial Billy. I don't know how good he was with you guys, but I mean for us, he's been night and day. He's been fantastic for us. So yeah, he scored against Borough. So I wouldn't mind him scoring two in a row, but. On that subject, it terrifies me at the prospect of conceding to Jack Clark. So
Yeah. He spent a season on loan at QPR, didn't he? I
he
seem to
did,
forget that one.
he did. I'll be honest. When I saw that you bought him and what you bought him for, I couldn't believe it. I was thinking, what do you see in him? But obviously, he's someone that maybe works for certain teams, and for us, he
Yeah.
just didn't kick it off. But I can see the ability he has, and he does.
I think
Wonders.
that's the thing with loan players as well, and it's what I've always said, especially, Patrick Roberts is another great example of that, where I think he's 24 years old, possibly 25 soon.
Yeah, 25.
And Sunderland is the first, real club he's had. Because he signed for Man City, he never really played for them. Went on loan at Derby, he's been on loan at Celtic. I
Yeah,
think he was on loan at Middlesbrough. Similar to Jack Clark, signed for Tottenham from Leeds, never really played for Tottenham, just kept going out on loan. It is hard for a player to, kind of fulfill the potential when you don't know where you're going to be playing the season after.
yeah, exactly. I think I've interviewed a few of the young lads at QPR, and they were saying like it's very difficult when it comes to like loans because the mental side of football is just important. That kind of
Yeah.
when you're an established player in a team, you've got an idea of where you're going to be playing, so you know what to practice, what to try and strengthen. So
Yeah.
I mean, Jack Clark, where does he play for you on the right hand side or
He tends, well, at the minute, left wing back.
yeah? See that's maybe what's the interesting side because for us he was put on the right hand side. So I think you're right. I think once they've established a specific position, that's when you start to see what they can really do. I mean, you look at Harry Kane, the way he was,
Yeah.
he had plenty of failed loan spells. He's played centre mid, cam, and he came good when he's put up front. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
you're back on.
Wouldn't mind Jack Clark to reach them heights, I
Yeah,
have to admit. Last but not least, another time to put you on the spot score predictions. I'm going to go with a 2-0 Sunderland win based off what QPR fans being so, dreading the fact that they've got 4 key players missing. Sunderland, like I say, unbeaten in, I think it's still 17 or 18 league fixtures. With being at home as well, I'd probably go with a 2-0 Sunderland win. I'm sure
yeah,
you're going to go with slightly different though.
yeah. I think one thing that I would give advice to any clubs that you're asking their position: ignore QPR fans. They
Yeah.
are the most negative reactionary people about me being one of them. I think this weekend is going to be a tough game. I think going as far as Sunderland for an away game is always tough. We don't have we have an all right record against you guys. Obviously the cup we won't talk about that, but uh, it's going to be tough. I don't think that it's going to be a whitewash. I think
Yeah.
I want to be positive, but I think I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. I I think we can still score goals with the quality that we have up top. Likes of Chair and players like that are still in the team. But I just think defensively we're going to struggle with the current situation of our left and right back. So I'll go for a 2-2, and I wouldn't be too disappointed with that at all.
Yeah. And of course, that would maintain Sunderland's unbeaten start of the season. So I don't think many Sunderland fans will be against that. But of course, 3 points are always important. But that is all the time for today. I appreciate you coming on and talking about the game with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on.
We will, of course, have a reaction to Saturday's game out on Sunday, talking about the game. And then, of course, another game is coming up on Wednesday, I think it is. I believe it's Stoke away. I could be wrong on that one. But I think it is. So we'll have a preview of that. And, of course, any more podcasts in the future will be posted on Twitter as well. So it's been a pleasure. But until next time, we will see you later.
That's all, folks.